morning, everybody. I wanted to thank you first for taking time out of your busy schedules to meet with me. As you are aware, November is National Career Development Month, and we wanted to kick off this month with an informative panel discussion with our partners from Carteret Community College and Carteret Healthcare. Healthcare is one of the fastest growing professions in the country right now, and healthcare is our second largest employer in the county, so this matters to our students. So right now, I was hoping we could share some information to our students about all the opportunities that exist right here in our county. If you are a student interested in the healthcare field, this is an opportunity to put names to faces as you start your path to becoming an employee in healthcare, hopefully here in Carteret County. I wanted to have the opportunity to introduce the people that work with our students, either on the education side, the scholarship side, or the hiring side. So I'll start with the introductions, and as most of the students are already aware, my name is Pam Robertson, and I'm the Career Development Coordinator at East Carteret High School, Down East Middle School, and Beaufort Middle School. I love having the opportunity to work with all of the students and talk to all of the students. It used to be career development was an area that we focused just on students that were in career and technical education classes. And it has evolved now where I get to talk to everybody in the building, which makes my job a lot of fun because every kid has a plan or is going to have a plan when they leave high school. And so I get to be a part of that, hopefully. Each person is different and each plan is different, which is why we have to have as many of these conversations with the students as we possibly can. A lot of the students just aren't aware of what happens after high school. They don't know when to start applying for jobs, when to start applying for college. They don't know if they want to go right to work or go to college. So my job is to just share the information and then they can make the choice that's best for them. So now I want to introduce all of our partners that are here on this call. If you introduce yourself with your name, your title, where you work, and what your role is at your job, that would be great to start out with. And then once we're done with introductions and kind of how you work with students and your job, I will ask a couple of questions that the students actually posed to me in a survey that we did last week. And then we can just go from there. So I'll start with Miss Lori Freshwater, who is at Carteret Community College.
Hello, my name is Lori Freshwater, and I'm the Dean of Health Science Programs at Carteret Community College. Although I've been working in an educational setting for many years now, I entered healthcare as a respiratory therapist. I was compelled to become a respiratory therapist because my brother has severe asthma, so I grew up seeing how hard it was for him to breathe, and I wanted to help others with breathing difficulties as well. So for those dedicated to helping others, a career in healthcare is a very rewarding career and it can provide you with a very satisfying quality of life. Carteret Community Colleges offers several high school pathways to get you started on a career in one of our healthcare programs that we offer here or any healthcare program that you might be interested in.
Great. Thank you, Lori. Tanya, do you want to go next?
Yes, so my name is Tanya Dixon. I am the nurse recruiter at Carteret Healthcare. I'm also the contact for the scholarship for nursing and other allied health professions over at Carteret Community College and other colleges throughout. Like all healthcare related fields and with the scholarship specifically, it's ever changing. We all know that due to things that have happened in 2020. So it is available for nursing, radiology, respiratory therapy, and surgical technologists. And of course, that could change at any time, but we do keep our websites up to date. I am a registered nurse. I got into nursing 20 years ago. I came to Carteret Healthcare about 10 years ago, and I was an inpatient floor nurse on med-surg at that time, but I have a background in emergency department, critical care, outpatient surgery center, and then of course I landed here 10 years ago. So nursing has a lot of avenues and it is a great profession to get into.
Awesome. Thank you. Patty, you're next.
Awesome. Hello guys, I'm Patty Hudson. I am our Vice President of Nursing over here at Carteret Healthcare. And I have been a nurse 29 years now, so long time. And I'll echo what Tanya has to say. Nursing offers a large variety of different avenues you can be as a nurse. As a nurse, I've worked at the bedside in intensive care unit. As a nurse, I've worked in information systems to help build the computer screens that nurses use every day at the bedside.
Yeah.
You know, as a nurse, I've worked in emergency departments. There's a large variety of different avenues you can go as a healthcare caregiver. One of my roles here is, you know, we have about 400 nurses here at Carteret Healthcare. And I tell you, to put it really simple, my job is to take care of them. So the work that they do every day, ensuring that they have the supplies they need, the staffing they need to take great care of our patients and to monitor that, is what I do every single day. So I'm looking forward to this video and offering you guys some great help as you're choosing a healthcare career.
Great, thank you, Patty. And Barbara, go ahead with your description and your job title.
All right, I'm Barbara Maya. I am the recruitment coordinator, and I also do the student coordinating. So I work with all the different local community colleges and colleges in the area to get them set up here to make sure they can do their clinicals. And then I also have worked very briefly with the high schools, but COVID kind of put a stop to that, unfortunately. So hopefully we can get back to that soon and get them back here in the hospital and seeing what we have to offer here in the clinical setting. My background is not clinical. I've been recruiting for about 10 years. I started in government contracting, and I lived up in Virginia, and then I moved down here and got a job here about 8 years ago. I was a human resource generalist, and then I moved into a recruiting role after about 1.5 years doing that. I've been here ever since, and I love it.
Great. Well, thank you. That was a great introduction. And now what I plan on doing, as you guys are aware, last week I sent out a survey to all of our students. I said, if you're interested in healthcare, what are 3 things that you want to know about healthcare? And we had some great questions and great, really great thought process actually for some of the questions we got. So what I'll do is I'll just pose some questions. I figured that would be the best way for the kids to learn. And then if this falls in your area, go ahead and answer the question. And I thought of another question while you guys were doing your introduction, but I'll wait to do that at the end. So the first question is, when should a student start thinking about applying to CCC when they want to enter a healthcare program area?
Okay, I'll answer that question first. The majority of health science programs here at Carteret Community College are what we call selective admission programs. So we start taking applications for each of our programs starting October 1st of each year for the following fall semester. In order to ensure that our students have excellent laboratory and clinical experiences, the numbers that we can accept is limited by program and usually is 20 to 25 students in each program. So therefore, you want to make sure that you do very well in your high school courses, especially in math and science, in order to be competitive for those programs, because we can only take such a limited number.
So October 1st for a high school senior interested in healthcare, especially if they know a program area they're interested in, the application opens October 1st.
Yes, that's correct.
And when would they find out if they were accepted into the program?
It depends on which program you're applying for. Our most competitive programs are nursing and radiography, so they have very hard and firm deadlines, and so those students would be notified typically in March. And for our other programs, we will keep those open until they are filled, such as medical assisting, respiratory therapy, therapeutic massage, emergency medical science. Those programs have a little bit more flexibility.
Okay, and because there's overlap here, so some of the program areas that Lori just mentioned fall into the scholarship area as well. Is there a deadline for the Carteret Healthcare Scholarship?
So we have established a deadline of April 15th, which is on our website. So
Okay.
there's scholarship guidelines and an application process, and all of that information can be gotten off of carterethealth.org, or I think it's Carteret Scholarships. You can look that up and you can find that information on there. So we've done April 15th, but we have had to change that a few times, accommodating Carteret Community College specifically. All of our deadlines and the criteria that we run with is based off of Carteret Community College's deadlines. So
Okay.
for their program, nursing program is notified mid-March of their acceptance into that. So therefore that gives them time to know that, because they have to be accepted into the program to be eligible for the scholarship. But we would do
And-
interviews after deadline.
Okay, that helps. And while we're on the scholarship topic, what is the benefit of the scholarship? If you'll do a quick summary of a child that is applying for the scholarship, how much of the scholarship covers their educational costs, and then what do they do when they graduate from their program area?
Sure. So the scholarship covers 90% of tuition and books for the cost of what it would cost to go to Carteret Community College. So whatever it would cost you to go there, that we cover 90% of tuition and books. We also will cover up to $1,500 for a laptop if that is needed anytime within the program. And then also there are exclusions to that, and we can't list all of those out obviously, but anything that is pertinent to the program. So nursing school specifically has a starter kit. We do pay for that, and they're required to get uniforms. It covers those sorts of expenses.
Is the scholarship only for kids who want to attend CCC?
No, it is for multiple programs. We do accept students from other colleges. Right now, we are not doing out of state, but depending on the number of applicants we get, we could, if they are a Carteret County resident and they've chosen to go out of state, that could be considered. So it's really based on the number of applicants, qualified applicants that we get in, because sometimes we do get partial applications, but we do have to review that.
And one last thing, why are we encouraging our Carteret County kids to apply for these scholarships if they want to go into healthcare?
Because we know that we have talent in Carteret County, and we want to grow Carteret County students in Carteret County. We want to maintain them here. So we know we have the talent here, and we want to provide the resources to keep them in Carteret County if that's what they choose to do. So we want them to grow in our schools, our middle schools, our high schools, to our community college, as well as our universities that are within a certain amount of distance here. And then we want to come back to Carteret Healthcare, because, you know, our school systems are the top employer in the county, but we're the second top employer in the county. And there's a lot of opportunity here, and not just in nursing, but in healthcare in general.
Right, great. Okay, another question that came across, Lori, what sets student candidates, and actually this is open for everybody, what sets student candidates apart when you're looking at their applications for enrollment or for hire or for getting into one of your programs?
Okay, as I said, each of our programs are what we call selective admission programs. So each program has a ranking form for which students get credit in a variety of different categories. So in general, I would say it's really important that students are interested in a healthcare career do very well in high school biology, chemistry, and math. Completing any program, general education requirements that you can through Career and College Promise gives you points for each program. And so I would suggest that you talk with your career development counselors, your high school counselor, the college advisors, and they can help you determine what you can do to strengthen your application.
Great. Anybody else want to answer that for when you're looking at students or in positions, maybe kids that are coming right to work out of high school? What is it that you're looking for?
Sure. Oh, sorry, Patty.
No, you go ahead, Tanya.
So I feel like they should, any resource they have for a resume, they need to make sure that they have a resume that kind of points out their top characteristics, any skill set that they may have, any experiences they have with volunteer. Of course, their GPA is really important. That needs to be a priority, and any engagement and involvement that they've had in high school, inside the school or outside the school, looks really good. And then also interview questions. They need to brush up on their interview skills. They need to be able to answer questions, and even if they don't know the answer, it's really good for them to be able to say, I don't have a good answer right now, but let me get back to you on that. And then by the end of the interview, kind of rounding back on it. And, you know, that looks really good. So I would suggest that they get with somebody and kind of practice interview skills.
Right.
I would add to that as well, definitely strong academics. So it's important you're focusing on your grades and doing the best that you can, but also how well do you work in teams? You know, when you think about healthcare, there's 3 basic things that we look for. We work as a team. So you do not work in isolation. So if you've worked in teams before, you know, you've played team sports and those kinds of things, it really helps that you can function in a team, because that's what we do in healthcare, as well as, guys, a passion to make a difference and help others. So deep inside, if you're looking for, I really like to help people, and I really, in my job, I just don't want to go and sit in a corner somewhere and look at a computer. I want to make a difference. I want to help others as I'm, you know, going to work each day. Those are the kind of people that we're really looking for in healthcare, and make great professionals as well.
Right. You want to add anything, Barbara?
They did a great job with kind of summing it up. But the other thing I see a lot, because I work down here in HR, is I see people coming in, bringing their resume, and if they're going to do that, dress nicely. Make sure you look nice. You don't have to wear a suit or anything. I know they're high school kids, but definitely wear a nice pair of jeans and a nice top, and make sure your hair looks good, and just look professional. You are coming into a place of employment potentially, and you want to put a good step forward from the beginning, and that is a big factor. In that is your appearance. Just make sure you're not coming from the beach, you know, with your tank top and shorts on. You know, you want to make sure that you're coming in prepared. With, you know, especially if you're turning your resume in, you want to be professional about it.
Right. Now, I know you, Patty, you mentioned teamwork. So we focus on employability skills here in the high school, and we have 6 that the state of North Carolina kind of tries to hone in on and focus on, and teamwork is one of them. Communication is one of them. How important is communication, both from a position that you're in with hiring or recruiting students, but also how do you use it as adults? I think we forget that we once were these students going through the process, and I didn't just stop using communication when I became an adult and started working. So how important in what you do now?
I'll take that one. Communication is very important and critical. And I think, you know, we just do it day in and day out, and you really don't think about the criticalness of it. In healthcare, you know, we're communicating all day to the physicians, between each other, about the status of our patients and what we're doing for them. So in the interview, when you're looking at, you know, potentially a healthcare career, how you communicate in that interview is important, because you're setting your image. Just like how you're dressed, you know, when you come in, your communication skills. Guys, I practice, I'll be honest with you, in high school, I practiced in front of someone. So we had role playing where we practiced the communication and answering questions and things like that, because it's not always intuitive. Some people, you have to practice at it and prepare about how you communicate, but you want to come across as, you know, confident, but also that you're showing your heart. So a lot of times people will give robotic answers. Like they've got on index cards exactly what to say for this question. Here is what I say. And it's like you're reading an index card. Sometimes it's good if it just comes from your heart. And it's, I want to go into respiratory therapist because I love to help people. And similar to what Lori said with the explanation of why she went into respiratory therapy. It's important to show your heart as well, and not that you're just reading from an index card or a pre-planned answer.
Right. And I think it's important too. And I try to tell the kids this, when I first had my first job interview, I didn't come into education right out of the gate. And I didn't because I was petrified at the thought of standing in front of a classroom of 30 kids and talking the whole time, like petrified. And now I'm in education, and I wish I would have done it when I was in school, but I never had conversations with anyone about it. Actually learned more about it because of my husband, who was in it when we met. But my point in saying that is I try to tell the kids interviews can be very stressful. However, if you go in with the mindset that it's as much for them to learn about you as it is for you to learn about them, I hope I can help put some kids at ease with that, because as I've gotten older and I've gone through the interviews several times, that interview is still important, but it's also important for me to when I'm with that person to say, is this really a place that I could see myself working? Would I really enjoy this? Like, go in it with that attitude, and the conversation seems to go a little bit smoother. Of course, it also gets smoother as you get older and go through the process 100 times. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out, that I tried to share that with our kids before they go in. I know last year when we were interviewing kids for the scholarship, that's all I kept telling them was, it's just a conversation. They just want to get to know you, and you get to know them. That's all it is. And they were so stressed. But
I'll give you an example. I interview new nurses all the time, and these are kids who right out of high school went into college, 2 years at a community college, and now they're with me interviewing for their career job. And so they really haven't had that much work experience.
yeah.
But I tell you, some of them stand out that do volunteer work. So I had one nurse that did Meals on Wheels. And so she couldn't talk about being a nurse. She couldn't talk because this was her first job.
Yeah.
But she talked about the people that she met on Meals on Wheels and knew them by first name, and how she loved seeing them once a week and taking care of them. And it made her day to make a difference in their lives. Bingo. Okay, there you go. You've done that as a volunteer. That's what I'm looking for in a future healthcare worker. So
Right.
any volunteering that you can do and then relate that in your interview, spot on. That's
Yeah.
a huge benefit.
And I think the kids don't realize that all the activities they do get involved with, whether it's a Skills USA or a club, we try to encourage all these kids get involved. With COVID, it's obviously been a little bit harder, but even being part of a club teaches them these communication skills, these teamwork skills. It gets them involved in what's going on in the area. So we really stress that with our kids. So hopefully they see that the conversations they have at their club meeting is going to be very similar to the conversation they're going to have with you when they start applying for jobs. So, good. Okay, so
Add one thing in terms of interviewing and
Yes.
communication, to let our students know that how you represent yourself on social media is very
Key.
important.
Do you all look at their social media when they apply?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I go and look and just kind of see. I mean, I can't obviously find everybody, but
Yeah.
I do look. And if, most people are fine, but there's some that you question their judgment on things. But, you have to remember some of these people are really young and, just learning, but that does play a role in just in all aspects of your life. It's just how you present yourself and what you let people see.
I heard recently a student, and it wasn't anyone here, it was in the news somewhere. Somebody heard it on the news and told me about it, but it was a high school student who was a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal. And one man gets on social media and posts less than desirable picture and all this mess, and the coach saw it, and it was a Division I, like Clemson or somebody. They the kid's high school and took back his scholarship from that one post from that weekend.
Wow.
And I think it matters. I think the kids now are starting to really understand that, but what they don't understand so much is when they're middle school students and they're not thinking about careers and jobs, that social media doesn't go away. So you really do have to have these conversations very young right now, just so they understand that is with them forever. I mean, forever. And the whole thing about, oh, well, it goes away after you use it, like Snapchat. Oh, no, it doesn't. You can retrieve all that stuff. It's there. So, okay, so another question. This came across from a student. How competitive is it to get a job in healthcare here in Carteret County? Is one position more competitive than another? And what areas here do you find we are in low supply of employees? So high demand careers at Carteret Healthcare.
Nursing,
Yes. So
Nursing
low
is-
supply, high demand.
yes, if you go into nursing, you are guaranteed a job, no
Okay.
doubt. Guys, there's lots in healthcare, nursing assistant, respiratory therapy, pharmacy tech. There are lots of directions you can go in healthcare, physical therapy, occupational therapy, all of those. So if you separate, to me, and Tanya helped me a little bit, the more competitive schools to probably get into, definitely pharmacy, your physical therapist, trying to get into school for those as well. And nursing, I think it's sheer volume. So community colleges can only take X amount of students, and Lori, you might want to hit on that as well. And so if they've got 100 applicants in, they're choosing the best of the best, to go in for that semester as well. I don't know, Lori, if you want to hit on that.
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, our nursing and radiography programs are most competitive. For example, we get well over 120 applications and can only take currently 25 to 28 students into
Oh, wow.
into each fall cohort of nursing. We're actually making plans now to expand our nursing program enrollment in this coming
Good.
year. But right now we are limited to that. So we are seeking applicants that are the cream of the crop. So it's really important that you pay attention to your academic record and how you represent yourself, as we talked about previously. And I would just add, in terms of careers in high demand here in Carteret County, in a non-acute setting, medical assistants who work in the medical offices in both administration and clinical roles are very good opportunities for employment here in Carteret County as well. And we offer certificate, diploma, and associate degree programs in those areas. And we're also adding a medical billing and coding certificate this coming fall, because that's in great demand also.
Yeah, I was going to point out that healthcare isn't just, there is still a business office or business side of healthcare that is equally as important. And some kids who know that they want to be in that environment but don't want to go the clinical route, there are definitely options for them. So I'm glad you brought that up.
That's what I hire for. So I hire patient access. They help register the patients that come into the hospital, hire medical records, security, food services, environmental services. So there's so many different other types of jobs. If you don't feel you're ready to go to college yet, working in one of those roles and having us help pay for college is a great way to get into the hospital, figure out kind of the area you want to go, and then we can help with tuition assistance by working here as a full-time or part-time employee.
Oh, that's great to know.
Other healthcare opportunities are in the area of human services, caseworkers, all those individuals that help individuals who need specific services can have that opportunity. We have a human services program here, and we have articulation agreements with a number of universities if they want to go on with their education and complete bachelor's degrees or beyond. So that's a very strong need in Carteret County and across the state and across the nation, especially in the areas of substance abuse, in which we do offer a certificate in that area also. So I would encourage you, for those who are not interested in that traditional patient care, might look into those kinds of opportunities.
That's great. Yeah, when I went into education, I was still petrified. It was 10 years after I started working. I was still petrified at the thought of sitting in front of 30 kids. And so I came into education as a bookkeeper in the office. I have a finance economics degree. The bookkeeper job opened. I took a huge pay cut. And that year I was never happier. I loved my job. And it just so happened that within 6 months of being in the school and me getting to see how a school works, I was working in the school, but I wasn't in the classroom. Our only business teacher in the middle school actually got deployed. And because I had a business finance degree, I went right into the classroom and got my education certificate and taught for 5 years. So definitely would encourage kids who just don't know, but know they want to go into a field. That's a great way to do it, is to get into the hospital, into a position like that. And then once you make your decision or see how the hospital works, you can kind of see, okay, this is kind of the area I want to focus in. And then the hospital might pay for, you know, the tuition assistance for them to go to Carteret Community and get their certificates or their coursework done.
Exactly.
Okay, so this was my question I thought of while we were talking in the beginning. How many males get into your healthcare and nursing? Non-traditional role, right, for males? Do you get a lot of male applicants?
We
need
do
more.
not.
We do not. We need more male applicants. I think nursing as a whole, as you look at it, is less than 5 to 10% males. And guys, there's so many opportunities. You know, I just hired Tyler, one of our male nurses, brand new, just came into our facility. Fantastic addition to our team. So males don't think that nursing is just for the females, although large majority of females go into that. But our guys in the ED, a lot of times our guys will drift to the emergency department because of the adrenaline of, you know, patients that come in there and the excitement and being able to handle that. They'll also drift into the OR. You know, we just had a nurse who went to the OR, and guys, that's exciting to be in there, to do hip replacements and be a part of that. And so there is definitely a lot of room for our, you know, guys out there wanting to go into nursing, also respiratory therapy as well. I have males who are nursing assistants to help us. So lots of career opportunities out there.
Right. Anyone else? No?
Yeah.
All right, so
That certainly Carteret Community College is actively striving to increase our diversity, including genders. So offering opportunities for what we call non-traditional gender careers. And so again, as you say, for nursing, that is a male. Same is true right now for respiratory therapy. And EMS has had a shift. It was traditionally male, and now it's really moving to the female side. So, but we want to expand that and make sure everyone knows that any career can be for you. It is not gender specific. It is what interests you. And we will do what we can to provide you access to those programs and to be successful, regardless of age or any other difference that you perceive you have, because all our students are the same, and together we help you become successful at what you want to do.
and the resources are available for them as well. Like I often bring the career coaches in from CCC to meet with our students because I don't know all the answers about what happens next. So I like her to come in, give all the program information to the kids, and then let the kids kind of get some tours of the facility. I know we've had kids before be able to go tour, hold on, that's the class bill. They've been able to tour program areas on campus just to kind of see, is this something I want to do? And just because they choose one avenue doesn't necessarily mean they're stuck in that forever. I mean, they might find that going into nursing, yeah, they liked it, but they really loved respiratory therapy while they were nursing. And so they make us, you know, whatever that may be. So, okay, last question. One piece of advice you would give to a high school student right now?
Good gracious.
I would say explore your opportunities. There's a lot of means of doing that. The career coaches and advisors at Carteret Community College will bring you into our career center, and we have what's called a MAP center, which helps you really either through a virtual setting right now or going in there and observing social distancing can help you explore various careers. Our pre-health science program lets you have access to the general educational requirements that are needed for each of our programs. So get into that and start taking those courses. That gives you more opportunity to explore different kinds of careers and programs and can be guided along a pathway, but at the same time may be making progress towards one of our credentials.
Right. Love it.
So I would add to what Lori just said. So reach out to resources. So if you're not 100% sure what you want to do, or you are 100% sure what you want to do, you have resources at your fingertips, and you don't always think of it that way, but there's a neighbor that works at the hospital or the school potentially. So you need to reach out to them and find out how they got in the pathway that they did, what it is that they do, who's a coworker that could help, because that gives you your contact information. That gives you somebody in that field that can help or at least guide you to somebody in that field. So there's lots of opportunity. It's a small community, believe it or not. This isn't a very big community, so somebody knows somebody. Make sure that you're utilizing that before you get into a career field that you think you like, but you may really not like it. And they may give you the opportunity to kind of hook up with somebody else that can get you in the path that you really want to go on.
Right. And job shadowing, like what we try to put in the schools, take it out. I had a kid last year who couldn't decide. She wanted to help people. She either wanted to be a teacher or a nurse. So she had done all the nursing classes. She loved nursing. And when we did job shadowing last year, she wanted to do it with the teacher, and she is at ECU in the teaching program. And she's like, if I wouldn't have done the job shadowing, I wouldn't have known. I like them both, but I really wanted to pick the courses that really I wanted to pursue, and she went with education. So I encourage that as well. And teachers, I know the people in the building are old people, but we've all had jobs and we've all been out, and I would say half of us have probably been in an industry that led to education. We didn't start out in education. So talk to your teachers. What about you, Patty?
Well, I think all these is great advice as well. We offer shadowing here at Carteret Healthcare. It's just, guys, we're in a pandemic now. So,
Yeah.
you know, you have to look at after this is over, and it will be soon. We're hoping it will be soon. But we offer shadowing here for age 17 or older. Once we kick up our junior volunteers again, that is 15 years and older. And that, exactly as Pam said, allows you to get into the setting. And guys, it's hard to explain this, but when you know it and you experience it, you'll just know it and you'll love it. For me, it was nursing. So when I went in, and ICU nursing was my first love. And once you get in there and you shadow someone, you just know it, that this is, you know, what I'm meant to be. So I encourage you to do those two things as well.
Right. What about you, Barbara?
I absolutely agree that you need to talk to your teachers. They're really lucky to have you, Pam, because I didn't have that in my high school. I didn't have someone I could go to and talk different career paths with.
Right.
And that is such an awesome thing that these kids have, that they have resources like that. But definitely talk to your teachers. You go to your favorite teacher, figure out, you know, what career path they did, and you know, get advice from that aspect. Or your best friend's parents, what did they do? If they do something that's really cool, talk to them, or, you know, just find out different ways, or go to somebody who was your babysitter and see what they're doing now. You know, lots of times there's resources where you don't realize that they're there, and or your coach. You know, sometimes the coaches aren't teachers and they're doing a different job, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's you know, has anything to do with coaching. It could be working at the telephone company, or the power company, or the hospital. You know, that's just a different avenue that you can talk to about. Because I know I love talking to kids and trying to encourage them to follow their passions and what makes them happy. But sometimes that's not always easy to figure out. So especially when you're 17, 18, trying to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Well,
so.
and that's why we do the interest inventories when they're like 13. So we start thinking, okay, if you like doing this stuff, you go to a career that, you know, we're trying to connect the dots here, that the interests matter.
Yeah, for sure.
So, well, good. Well, I just wanted to thank you all. That is all I have for today. And I really appreciate you taking time out of your schedules to meet with me and discuss this. I definitely, once we get out of this pandemic, I know I'm going to have students coming over to the hospital left and right. So I look forward to that day. If you have questions in the meantime, you can feel free to email me. If any students reach out, I now know kind of who to go to, which is helpful. And hopefully we can do another one of these down the road.
Awesome. Thank you, Pam.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pam.
You.
Thank you.